Good afternoon, everyone. We'll call to order the Ford Pinellas Board meeting for November 12th, 2025. If you'll please join me in standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now we will go around the room quickly and do self-introductions. We'll start to my right this time with Commissioner Albritton.
Chris Scheer, Pinellas County Commission.
Brandy Gabbard, Council Member, City of St. Petersburg. Mayor of Madeira Beach, representing the Big C.
Vice Mayor Mike Eisner, Tarpon Springs. Welcome.
St. Petersburg City Council Member Deborah Figg Sanders.
Mayor Gulfport Karen Love, representing South Inland Communities.
Richie Floyd, City Council Member, St. Petersburg.
Mike Menino, Clearwater City Council Member.
Deputy Mayor Tom Shelley, Bel Air, representing the North Inland Communities.
Brian Scott, Pinellas County Commission, District 2.
Mo Frey, I got that? Mo Frey, Mayor of Dunedin, almost 2 out shy of being World Series champion, home of Toronto Blue Jays.
She said.
My polish is just coming off, but anyway.
Renee Flowers, Pinellas County Commissioner, District 7.
Dave Eggers, Pinellas County Commission.
Gina Driscoll, St. Petersburg City Council Member and the Chair for Pinellas.
And I'm Whit Blanton, your Executive Director.
All right, thank you. Next, we will invite citizens who wish to be heard. Tina, do we have any citizens who wish to be heard today?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have David Ballard Geddes Jr.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. It's good to see everybody. David Ballard Geddes Jr. I live on Georgia Avenue in Palm Harbor. The infrastructure priority scheme that was presented before this board last month is a financial bleed using public tax funds to harden the town in the making of 15-minute cities in support of a private political insurrection and usurpation of government in preparation for actual wartime posturing based on the 14th Amendment. Prioritizing frivolous infrastructure schemes, strategically bleeding off and exhausting public tax monies in the aiding and abetting of such intermodal corridor planning process is nothing more than setting a meticulous trap against the unsuspecting civilian population of this county, legislatively ignoring or placing on hold the responsibility of larger, serious, more pressing concerns while focusing on the ballywick as having priority is to strategically ignore the main substance of supplying us with efficient roadways. Creating a conundrum of our roadways appears to be the main desire of legislation. Financing local road impediments such as speedways, roundabouts, concrete barriers, signage, and cameras to the cost of almost $500 million, which are used to further congest, limit, impede, and stifle our roadways, is to sidestep your duty of main concern in supplying us with efficient roadways, purposefully ignoring larger projects for decades with the intent of creating blighted and run-down conditions, creating perfidy and disrepair of all of our critical infrastructure throughout, displays unsovereign, nefarious zealot intent within the decision-making process of our public officials. Such fanciful wiles in the decision-making of legislation may find their systematic tactics of power to be placed under martial law, as you don't have the freedom to reverse engineer political powers and do as you please and still properly call yourself government. Thank you.
Thank you. Tina, do we have anyone else today?
Yes, Madam Chair, Bill Johnson, the chair of the Citizens Advisory Committee, is here to address the board as well.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I think I know most of you. For those that I don't know, I used to be on the council in Clearwater. In addition to being the elected chair of your Citizens Advisory Committee for Pinellas, I'm also chair of a group called the Courtney Campbell Scenic Highway Advisory Committee. And, but I'm speaking for myself rather than the committee, the CAC committee. But I'd like to just make a couple of comments about the committee. The first is, of course, it's an advisory committee that was created as part of the IST Act in 1992. And I would say that we have a great bunch of folks on the committee. Thank you for those appointments. And we do enjoy getting into the issues that are coming before the board, understanding them. We don't necessarily think we do much advising because we're more just understanding. We have done occasionally some recommendations to the board, and in your agenda pack there's 4 items that we wanted to pass on to you. I would be able to address one of them relative to the putting the plan in for the Courtney Campbell PD&E, but since that's on the agenda and maybe addressed later, I think I will say thank you at this time.
All right, thank you so much. Tina, do we have any other speakers today?
No, Madam Chair, we do not.
All right, thank you. We'll go ahead and close that public comment, and we'll go on to our recognitions and announcements. For that, Vice Chair Eggers has a special recognition that he would like to present today.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Good to be here, and good to see my colleagues doing the business of the county. Before I get started, happy birthday, Mike. Nice to see another birthday come around again. And you know, my dad always said from 50 to 70, it just flies by. I'm not suggesting you're in that range, but boy, does it fly by. So enjoy every day. Happy birthday. I didn't say that. I'm speaking from experience of being in that range. So, but anyway, happy birthday, my friend. In the spirit of, you know, you can't thank a veteran enough. You know, yesterday was that celebration, and I say thank a veteran every day. It also happens to be that the MPO meets, or Forward Pinellas meets the day after the meeting. So I just really wanted to take the opportunity, first of all, to recognize the veterans who are in the room. If you're a veteran, just stand up for a second. Let's recognize you, please. Anybody? Yeah, thank you for your service, and Rodney and Rob, if you guys will come forward, I just have a proclamation to you. These are our 2 vets in the room that work for Forward Pinellas. I appreciate both of your services. And what branch? Navy. Navy?
Army.
Navy and Army. It was just great. I'm sure everybody had an opportunity anyway to get to one of those celebrations yesterday. I was in the city of Dunedin. Mo, you guys knocked it out of the park. It was just a really wonderful event. Talking about, and had a lot of kids involved in the day, and it was just a really great day. So I just really wanted to say thank you to all of you if you got a chance to get out to see them. One of the things that the gentleman yesterday, he called himself Mr. T. Okay?
I found it. It's Thomas T. Man Brown with U.S. Army, but with Tampa Bay Homeless Outreach. Thomas
Homeless.
T. Man Brown.
Yeah, and so that is, you know, the reason I really wanted to bring his name up is that he was challenging each of us to think a little bit about what your passion is with respect to helping vets. There are a lot of vets out there that are struggling. He gets out there and works at early hours of the morning. He had gone out that very morning, about 5 o'clock in the morning, with a bunch of blankets. It happened to be that really cold morning, handing them out to vets. But he goes out on the streets and works with vets and tries to put them in contact with folks that can help out. And so he challenged us each to come up with that one little area that we might feel really strong about and figure that out and to reach out to the veteran community in some way. In the coming year, whatever that might be, there's a lot of folks that are doing just fantastic, but a lot of folks that are struggling and need our help. So our county vet department, we have our own department here that helps vets find their benefit package, their pathway to benefits. And I sit on a community and veterans engagement board that works closely with Bay Pines and making sure that, you know, the vets are getting the services that they need. So you can reach out to my office as well. But these two gentlemen both served, and I just really wanted to just read a proclamation, going to give you a copy of one, and thank you for your service. Thank you both very much. I appreciate it. It says, whereas for generations, millions of Americans have answered the calls to serve the sacred oath to defend and preserve our nation's ideals of liberty and democracy. These patriots represent the best of us. On Veterans Day, we honor their service, and around the entire year, of course, we're saying thank you. Their dedication, valor, and are forever grateful for their sacrifice. And our nation has sacred obligation to properly prepare and equip our service members when we send them into harm's way and to care for them and their families when they return home. And that was another message yesterday about families and everybody that what they go through and the support they provide before, during, and after the service. Pinellas County government remains committed to ensuring our veterans have access to support and resources for a future of security, opportunity, and dignity through Pinellas County Veteran Services Division, who remain steadfast in their mission to ensure all Pinellas County veterans and their families have access to benefits by the state of Florida, the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, and other government services. And whereas Pinellas County recognizes and honors county employees and city employees who are veterans, we truly thank them for their service, dedication, and valor, and are forever grateful. Now, therefore, be proclaimed by the Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners that November 11th, and today November 12th, and tomorrow as well, be recognized as Veterans Day in Pinellas County. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it very much. Appreciate your services. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. That was very thoughtful of you, so thank you for doing that. Next, we have the consent agenda. Do we have any board members who wish to pull any items from the consent agenda that you'd like handled individually? If not, then I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved. Second.
Who made them? I didn't catch them. There was too many voices. Albritton and Eisner.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next is our public hearing items. We'll first take up item 6A, the proposed amendments to the Transportation Improvement Program. And for that, we have a presentation by Ryan Hutton. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Ryan Hutton. I'm the transportation planner with for Pinellas. I help manage our Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP. So just as a refresher, our TIP, it's our short-term planning document. It outlines all the transportation projects of Pinellas County, kind of use federal, state, and local funding. I do have a cycle timeline here. I'm actually going to give another presentation after this. I'll go into more detail, so I'll skip this for now. But just for some clarification, there's two types of changes we can make to the TIP. So there's an amendment and a modification. So an amendment is just an addition or deletion of a project or change that impacts the fiscal constraint or changes the scope of a project, while a modification is more of a minor revision that changes project phase or funding sources. But today we have one amendment. So this amendment is for FDOT's intersection improvement project at Bayshore Boulevard and Curlew Road. So as you can see a little map here, I may make this bigger for next time. Be curious where it is. The project overall is aiming at improving traffic flow and safety by adding turn lanes, upgrading traffic signals, and improving sidewalks and bike lanes, among other things. But FDOT is requesting today for us to add the funding to reflect the added funding to cover additional drainage improvements that they're making that were not part of the original design. So during the final design, engineers discovered that the existing drainage pipage along Bayshore Boulevard didn't have enough clearance for the utilities by the nearby Curlew Creek Bridge. So to solve that, they're upgrading the design to include a concrete box culvert, which should have better flow capacity and durability. So this amendment shouldn't impact any other projects. It just ensures that this one is built correctly the first time. Here is the funding table breakdown. It should also be in your packets if you're curious about how that funding will look like. So today we're just recommending approval of this amendment into the TIP. There we have the committee recommendations. And if approved, this document will be updated and transmitted to FDOT and the FHWA partners and posted online. And that's it. Any questions?
Commissioner Eggers?
Yeah, do we now, I see it's fiscal year 26 for construction. Do we know when that's going to begin? I'm sorry if you said that. I was.
Yeah, I don't have all the, if you want all the project information, there's the link there. This is what I have, was given by FDOT. Maybe someone from FDOT can give more explanation for that.
What was the amount of the change? I didn't catch the amount.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the question is how much was the change?
Yes.
It was about $4 million.
That's a big change. Was it a design, was it?
Yes, my understanding is during design, the department identified some additional drainage needs that were part of the project. So there's additional culvert and utilities that are being relocated as part of that.
And this is who's going to make up the difference over here on?
That is the project, yes. This is a project that we've prioritized. I'm not sure what your question is.
We're adding $4 million. Who's making up the difference on the addition?
The state is.
The state is going to cover the whole thing?
Yes, it's not coming out of local funds.
Okay. It's a big change.
Good. Mayor Franey?
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, city wasn't thrilled about the change because it did add cost to us on our side. But so we don't want it to be redesigned again, but it does sound like an improvement. And my question had to do with when they were going to put the advertising out for the bids, but I guess we go to that for that, right?
Yeah, if you want any more detailed, the link here should have all the explanation for that.
My understanding is that the bids will be in April.
Okay, well, that was mine, and we just talked to our deputy, said, if you hear something different today,
Yep.
you know, go a little crazy.
So this won't impact this coming peak season, for instance, at getting out to Honeymoon Island, but the construction period will be longer than a year, so it may, in 2027, have some effects.
Thank you.
One more question. Was this an error in due diligence on the engineer's part, or
Sometimes things come up through design that require an amendment to the project as you get further into that design, so I suspect it came out of that design process. Maybe the department could speak to that. They're managing the project. I don't know if Brian or
Are they charging us additional fees for this design change as well?
They are
that they missed?
not. They are not charging any additional fees. The department is handling the design, so they're doing it themselves with their consultant. We have Secretary Hall
Mr.
here
Secretary.
with us today.
Hey, how's it going? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, yeah, obviously sometimes things come up that are unexpected. This was having to increase the size of the pipes for the drainage. As everybody knows from the past storms, we've seen how we can get inundated. So we have updated Swift Mud models that are showing that we need to upsize certain pipes. This was a project that fell in that coastal area that need to have larger pipes. So that's the difference. The difference is where the drainage system, instead of being a certain size, it's now being upsized throughout the entire project. Yeah, things are expensive.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Eisner?
Do you know what the size of the pipes were and what they're going to be?
I don't, but I can get that to you. If you want to know, I can get that.
The reason I bring that up is because we're going through a storm surge piping that went from 1 million to 6 million on Gross right by our City Hall. And I know there've been things that people find, but what I like to know is the difference in price from the initial bid to when the final, prices come in. Because what I try to do, and I'm not accusing anybody of this, but people sometimes, I've heard this through the grapevine, they low bid and then they find things buried that, it's very hard to justify whether it was or not. So,
Yeah, there's bad actors everywhere, so
I know.
that's the case. So this has not been bid yet, so this was just our estimate. So our estimate changed based on the upsized pipes, upsized drainage structures, everything. So this wasn't a situation where a contractor like low bid and then we did a supplemental and the cost jumped. This was just our own internal estimate leading up to the bid with the increase in pipe size.
somebody checked out the differences in prices?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we have the department has a whole team that's all they do, is they study market trends, prices, and talk to contractors and understand like how much things are, so.
Thank you.
All right.
And who,
Thank you. Commissioner Scherer?
yes, thank you, Chair. Who did the original design that's being changed?
You mean who was our consultant designer? The DOT did the design, but we would use the consultant. Do you know who the consultant was? Yeah, I'm not sure. I can find out though if you'd like to know. But this is not a design. This is not a design error, because if that was the case, we actually would go after the designer. We call it an E&O, and this was not an E&O. This was purely a situation that SwiftMud changed the model, which then led to us having to upsize the pipe. So the designer didn't do anything wrong. They designed it based on the standard at the time, but during their job, the standard changed.
And the good news is this isn't affecting any other projects in the work program, so everything's staying intact. Right.
No, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other
See you, everybody.
questions? Thank you. All right. Tina, do we have any public comment on this item?
No, Madam Chair, we do not.
Fantastic. In that case, I will entertain a motion for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This one is a roll call vote. So we'll go ahead and proceed.
Commissioner Eggers?
Aye.
Commissioner Flowers?
Yes.
Mayor Freeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Councilmember Menino? Councilmember Floyd? Mayor Ayub? Mayor Love?
Yes.
Councilmember Fig Sanders? Vice Mayor Eisner?
Yes.
Mayor Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Gabbard?
Yes.
Commissioner Scheer? Councilmember Albritton?
Aye.
Councilmember Driscoll?
Aye.
That passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next, don't go anywhere. Item 6B, the fall update of the TIP.
Okay. So I'm going to give another little presentation here about our fall update to the TIP. So for those who are unaware, the fall update is basically an administrative refresh that we do, sort of to capture the latest schedules, funding, and scope changes from our local partners. So that includes the county's newest CIP, Capital Improvement Program, transportation projects, also some of the local municipalities and their work program projects as well. Oh, I clicked the wrong button, I think. There we go. So this is our normal TIP cycle timeline. So in January, we normally have the FDOT draft tentative work program, adopt our transportation priorities in the spring, and then bring in the county and municipal CIPs each fall. So right now we're in that October-November timeline right here, the mid-cycle update. So what's included, as I just mentioned, so we have the county's capital improvement program, their transportation projects. We also have all the local municipalities, whatever they give us with their work program transportation projects, just to give as much of a complete and comprehensive snapshot as possible before we update. So this is what it will look like if we adopt it in the tip. So there'll be like a table, have all the information. There'll be some nice maps to look at. It'll give the project description and status. We also have on our website an interactive CIP where you can look at these projects. It'll give you more details. If you go to that link on the website right there. A little small, but. So starting off with the county CIP, we have 3 new projects, 11 projects which were completed from last year, 10 projects which have remained the same, and 37 projects which have changed, and whether that's in funding or scope, there's different various changes. Okay, 1 sec. So I'm just going to go over some of the major highlights. This isn't a comprehensive list, just a few I selected. If you want more of the details, as I mentioned before, please go to our website. I'll have that interactive link. You can get all the funding details, breakdowns, some projects that aren't mentioned here. But I'll just run through this pretty quickly. So first project I want to highlight is the 62nd Avenue North roadway improvements from 34th Street North to 49th Street North, including turn lane improvements, drainage, bike lanes. No change from last year, remains on program. We also have the San Martin Boulevard Bridge over Riviera Bay, which is a bridge replacement to address structural needs. Construction estimate has updated due to inflation and refined engineering, with construction schedule remaining unchanged for that. We also have the Beckett Bridge replacements to improve stormwater resiliency and emergency access. The design estimate for that has increased slightly from last year, with construction remaining on track for 2026. We have East Lake Road, from south of Curlew Road to north of Trinity Boulevard. That's a corridor study for capacity, intersection, and multimodal improvements. The design for that has moved out 1 year to align with federalization of the project. We also have Starkey Road improvements from Flamevine Avenue to Ulmerton Road, which is reconstruction and widening from 4 to 6 lanes with some storm pipe and signalization upgrades. That's actually, this is a combination of 2 projects which have since been combined, previously from Bryan Dairy to Ulmerton segment, and the construction for that has moved to 2029. A couple more projects we have to highlight. We have the McMullen Booth Road bridges over Tampa Road. So that's the widening and replacement of the northbound and southbound bridges. The construction estimate has increased to account for rising bridge costs for that project. We have the northbound off-ramp bridge over Lake Tarpon Outfall Canal. So that's a bridge replacement and ramp capacity upgrade to improve safety and flood resilience. Costs have adjusted slightly for materials for that project. We have 102nd Avenue North improvements from 137th Street to 113th Street, which is a full corridor rebuild with bike lanes, sidewalks, and stormwater enhancements. So no changes from last year for that project. The 54th Avenue North improvements from 49th Street to 34th Street North. Design for that project has moved out 1 year, and construction estimates have increased slightly. And we also have the Dunedin Causeway Bridge projects, which the design for that has shifted from 2025 to 2026, but no major scope changes. And just to round it off, we have these last projects here, I'll go through quickly. The Nebraska Avenue improvements, that's from the Alt US 19 to Westlake Boulevard, adding curb, gutter, sidewalk, and storm drainage upgrades. The project estimate has increased due to drainage requirements and design refinements. The schedule remains unchanged. We have the Keystone Road and East Lake Road emergency access improvements. So that's the intersection and turn lane enhancements to improve emergency response. Design costs updated based on agreement with the county and fire district, but no schedule change. We have the Pinellas Trail South Gap from Ulmerton Road to Belair Road. It's completing a critical gap in that Pinellas Trail loop. No change in the design costs, and the construction estimate updated for 2026. We also have the East Lake Road bridges over Booker Creek, which is a widening and replacement of the northbound and southbound bridges to provide a 6-lane divided cross-section. Design estimate has updated for that. And then finally, we have the McKay Creek Greenway Trail, which is a 4-mile shared use trail following McKay McKay Creek through Ridgecrest and Taylor Parks to Taylor Lake. And the construction estimate has increased slightly based in that, but the schedule remains unchanged. So again, that was just some of the projects we chose to highlight. If you want the full list, I highly recommend checking out that website link, checking out the interactive CIP for the full project details and breakdown. But today we're just recommending approval of this fall update to the TIP. Once approved, the county and municipal work programs will be incorporated and posted online along with our interactive dashboard and supporting tables.
Thank you.
That's it.
Any board member questions? Councilmember Gabbard.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the presentation. Just a quick question on page 12, the second project highlight, the San Martin Bridge over Riviera Bay. I just wanted to make sure I have the note right because this is of utmost importance to the residents that I represent. So you said that there was a update to the estimate due to inflation, but no change to the construction timeline. Is that correct?
Can you repeat the project? Which one was it?
It's the San Martin over Riviera Bay Bridge replacement.
Let me check. The construction estimate updated due to inflation and refined engineering and scheduled for 2027 construction.
Okay, so we still are on track?
Yes, we're still on track.
Okay, great. Good news. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Vice Mayor Eisner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So you might as well give me the one right after that, the Beckett Bridge, because that's going to be my headache.
Let's see. So the design estimate has increased slightly from last year for that one, but the construction remains on track for 2026.
You know when in 2026, and do you know what the design change was?
I don't know exactly. Again, if you want the full details, I would just recommend going to that. Oh, going the wrong way here. Sorry, one sec. If you go to our website, there will be an interactive dashboard. It'll also be in the work tables. They'll give you the full detail. I don't have the full details for that project, just what's written here, but it'll be all there for you if you're curious.
Here's my issue. I didn't know that the design can still even be changed. We have excessive sidewalks on both sides where there's no use of one side. When I asked that question, I got back a response of, well, it's for the future. And there is no future to sidewalks there, period. On the bridge maybe, but after the bridge, there's none. So can that still be altered?
I personally don't know. I mean, I don't have the project details.
I know.
Yeah, I can refer you to maybe that specific project site and maybe who worked on it.
We can follow up directly with county staff. This is a county project. So let us follow up with the county staff and we'll get you that information.
I just didn't have an idea that this was, still in the design stage, because we're here at 2026. I mean, it's, okay, I got it.
Yep. Chelsea, do you have any additional information?
All right, thank you. Any other questions from the board? Okay. Tina, do we have any public comment on this item?
No, Madam Chair, we do not.
All right, then we'll move on to our action. Seeing that there's no request for further discussion, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and this one is also a roll call vote. We'll go ahead and take that now.
Commissioner Eggers?
Aye.
Commissioner Flowers? Mayor Freeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Councilmember Menino?
Aye.
Councilmember Floyd?
Yes.
Mayor Ayub?
Yes.
Mayor Love?
Yes.
Councilmember Fig Sanders?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Eisner?
Yes.
Mayor Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Gabbard?
Yes.
Commissioner Scheer?
Yes.
Councilmember Albritton?
Aye.
Councilmember Driscoll?
Aye.
That carries unanimously.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go into our Pinellas Planning Council public hearings, which will be conducted as follows. I'll first ask board members to affirm they have reviewed the staff report and the materials provided to them. Just confirming that. If needed, the Forward Pinellas staff are available with a presentation and to answer any questions. The applicant, local governments are also available for questions as needed. Then I will ask for proponents of the proposal to speak, then opponents, and finally, any other citizens who wish to comment or ask questions on the case. At that time, the board will ask questions, and then I'll close the public hearing, and the board will deliberate and take action. So, now that we know the plan, we'll go to item 6C1 regarding the City of Clearwater.
Do any members of the board wish to have a presentation on this item?
No? Okay. And Tina, can you confirm that we do have a representative from the City of Clearwater to answer any questions?
Yes, they are here in the room.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have proponents of the proposal to speak on the item?
No, Madam Chair, we do not have any proponents, opponents, or other citizens who wish to be heard. Oh, I'm sorry. Katie Cole's here on this one. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Katie Cole is here who will speak if needed. Thank you, Katie. Yes, okay. Great. Then in that case, we'll go on to board member questions. Vice Chair Eggers?
Just a couple quick questions. This is where the emergency room is being built. I just want to make sure I've got the right property. And while you're going up there, I, for some reason, thought that was the City of Dunedin property there on the corner when it was a car dealership. Did it get switched or something? Or?
And Katie, could you introduce yourself in case we might have some folks who haven't met you yet?
Yes, Madam Chair. Katie Cole with law firm of Hillward Henderson, representing the property owner and HCA. City of Clearwater representatives are here as well, but I'll jump in front since your questions are specific to the development. This is the HCA freestanding emergency room in one of the most unique land use cases we've had in the state of Florida in many years. Mayor Freeney can attest. This property was contracted from the city of Dunedin because it was a small piece that was in Dunedin's planning area, despite having split service of utilities, went to unincorporated Pinellas for a brief time while City of Clearwater then processed the annexation into the City of Clearwater.
Wow.
So the
Fancy
balance,
movie.
yeah, it was very interesting. Took a long time to figure that one out. But the balance of the property has always been and is in the City of Clearwater. This was just this very small corner that was formerly the used car lot. It was in the city.
Who knew? There was utilities built across Belcher to connect to the city. Anyway, interesting. So this is where that facility is
We
being
got
built.
some money back for some of the investments.
did?
so-
Good for
Yes,
you.
we did.
So this is where that facility is currently being built.
Correct.
Almost
This
finished.
parking lot, this is where the parking lot is, but the facility was constructed in the City of Clearwater, the building, and the stormwater and parking is in formerly the City of Dunedin, then unincorporated, now City of Clearwater.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome. It's very interesting. So
Appreciate that.
it was
That's
4
all I
years
had.
in the making for a very small corner parcel.
All
But
right.
good government, right?
And very, yes.
Good government.
With much thanks to City of Clearwater and City of Dunedin, specifically Mayor Freeney, who is the reason this did get done. So thank you.
All right. Councilmember Menino.
Thank you for that update. You just stole kind of what I was going to say, but I was going to thank Mayor Freeney for good governance is basically what it was, and effective communication with the City of Clearwater and your staff. So thank you to you and your staff.
Thank you, Councilman. I don't want to be exclusive to Mayor Freeney. She was the one that brought this home, but City of Clearwater from the very beginning worked very hard collectively with both the development team and Dunedin working through this, and it got to the City of Dunedin, and Mayor Freeney was showed great leadership with respect to good government, because Dunedin did not have to approve this contraction, and they did, to be able to facilitate this. So thank you.
Oh, that's great. Yes, Mayor Feeney.
And I don't want to have all the praise heaped on me, but you know, and I say this to our county commissioner colleagues, because I just remember the days of looking all the countywide enclave maps and looking at all the poor government fighting over little bits of land to save little bits of revenue, sometimes big. So, yeah, this is an example of how I think it always should work, right?
Thank you. It's nice to say it in front of the countywide authorities, so thank you all for appeasing us that.
Yes.
Happy to answer any other questions.
All right. Any other questions from the board? All right. Then in that case, I'll entertain a motion for.
Move to approve.
We have a motion and a second. This one doesn't require roll call, correct, Tina? Okay. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. Next, item 6C2, and this one is totally about the city of Dunedin, not just part of it. So just want to confirm everyone has reviewed the staff report and the materials, and is there anyone who would like to see the presentation from staff on this one? No? Okay. We do have folks available if there are questions.
Yes, Madam Chair. Kathy Gadamer from the City of Dunedin is here.
All right, thank you. Tina, do we have any proponents, opponents, or citizens who wish to be heard on this?
No, Madam Chair, we do not.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and move to board member questions. Anyone? Okay, we don't have any board questions on this one, so we'll go ahead and move to entertain a motion for approval.
Move approval of this item.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. We'll go on to our presentations and action items for today. And for that one, first we have our PSTA activities report. And once again, we have Councilmember Fig Sanders, who is also the chair of the PSTA board, giving us that report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. So first of all, PSTA Board met on Wednesday, October 29th, 2025. PSTA has provided just over 10.8 million total rides in fiscal year 2025, which is a slight 1% increase over fiscal year 2024 ridership levels. Early in October, PSTA extended ferry service to the great city of Dunedin, which had hurricane damage to their marina to overcome. In its first month of operation in Dunedin, it's been a very popular way to get downtown to Clearwater, with many ferry departures being sold out. On October 27, 2025, PSTA launched its second premium transit route called the Spark on 34th Street South between Eckerd College and Grand Central Station through the growing Skyway Marina District, and we had a great ribbon-cutting event with a large number of Eckerd students participating. Finally, last Thursday, both the City of St. Petersburg and the City of Tampa City Councils voted on 5-year agreements to support the operation of the Tampa Bay Ferry between Tampa and St. Petersburg. The next step towards getting the ferry service restarted will be at PSTA's next board meeting on December 3rd, when the PSTA board will consider awarding a ferry operating contract to Hubbard's Marina. And that's the conclusion of the PSTA report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions on that report? All right, great. We'll go on to 7B, the Regional Activities Report from Whit.
Sure, I'll take this one. And this month seems like MPO merger month, so there's a lot going on that front. It's a number of items, and I'll just start with where we were last week or so. October 27th, we had a field trip to Orlando. And several of you in this room joined me. And I think we had about 20, maybe 25 total participants that traveled over to Orlando to spend the day talking with Metroplan Orlando staff and their elected officials to listen to how they collaborate, learn how they participate among Seminole, Osceola, and Orange County. And I'd love to hear from some of the board members in the room who want to just share their observations of that day. I don't know if anybody would like to just share some thoughts, but I thought it was a really productive day of discussion and good dialogue.
Thank you. I agree. Commissioner Scott.
Sure, thank you, Madam Chair. Whit, thank you very much for setting that up. It was a good use of time. They, if I understood it right, they've had that joint MPO since they started in 1977. So
right.
They have figured out how to bring the region together, 3 counties, and they don't have quite as many municipalities as we have between our 3, but they've figured it out, and they've managed to find a way to collaborate together and kind of speak as one voice. So there is a way to do it, and they've, I don't know that a board or governance structure would look exactly the same here, because our area is a little unique in some respects. But when you look at the 3 counties they have, it's kind of similar to what we have here between Pinellas, Hillsborough, and Pasco County. Where they have a county that's kind of largely built out and sort of landlocked, and then they've got 2 counties that are growing by leaps and bounds. So there's a lot of similarities there, and the way that they handle making sure that everybody has a voice is. Basically, I think the cutoff was if your population was 50,000, then you automatically had a seat on the board. And then if you were under that, then they had a board of smaller municipalities, and that group had 1 appointment to the board. And they've got 22 board seats right now, which they can go up to 25, so they left some room for future growth. And the way they fund it is it's per head, 50 cents per person that each of the local governments pay. So it's kind of a unique model that they've come up with there. And they outlined a couple of key projects that they were able to advance because they were speaking with one voice. And one for them was Sunrail, which is very important for them to get that extension into Orange County. And then they also have a group of their MPOs, I think it was 10 MPOs, that includes, I think, Volusia, Brevard, and some other counties over there, where they were able to advance the I-4 bridge over the St. Johns River by 6 years. And collectively, that group they don't have any voting authority, but they got together and spoke as one voice with 10 counties. And they were able to advance a project that, while it didn't affect any of that 3-county MPO directly, but it affected all of them in one way or another. So they've got a good model there, and it seems to be working for them since 1977. So I think there's a good roadmap that is available for us to follow. And it was, to me, I thought it was a really good use of time, and it was encouraging to see a model that works. And, for all of the concern that we hear of people that say we shouldn't do that because we're going to lose our voice, they found a way to do it. And there wasn't anybody there that said they didn't have a voice. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my thoughts on it, but I was glad I went, and it was a good use of time.
Thank you. Commissioner Flowers.
Lynx is their public transportation system over there. And I know when I've gone over for business or by the UF IFAS training center places, there's bus lines that go by a lot of the apartment complexes because a lot of the youth who are going to college up in that area, they stay there. Was there any conversation about expanding their Lynx services and connecting it with Brightline as it comes through, or?
I can address that a little bit. We didn't talk a lot about Lynx specifically. They are a voting member of the board, so they have that. All their operating agencies do have some voting representation. Probably the biggest thing we talked about, though, was the change that Seminole County is implementing. They are moving away from fully funding Lynx, and they are now moving to a more transit on demand service using the freebie operator that some of our cities have used. Mm-hmm. They will keep some Lynx buses operating in Seminole County, providing mainly on the main corridors like 1792 and feeding to Sunrail. But Seminole County is a relatively suburban, low-density area, and so fixed route transit in that county is probably not as viable as it is in other parts of the urban area. So that's prompted their switch, and they seem happy with it so far. But it's kind of a hybrid model where they have some Lynx buses and then they have this freebie on demand, which is not free. So they are charging the residents for that service.
That's why I was asking, because I know when I've gone over, just looking at, not seeing as much public transportation as before.
Yeah, it's a little heavier in Orange County where you have many
definitely.
more of the tourism workers and, you know, the articulated buses, the longer 60-foot buses are very much in operation in that area.
Thank you.
I wouldn't, oh, yes, Marcia,
I would agree with
Deputy
the
Mayor
earlier
Shelley.
comments. I would add that it was good to hear from the chairman of the Small Cities Council, who made us feel a lot better about their representation and the voice they had. Originally, they had some friction with Orlando, wanted more voting members, and they got by it by having elected officials from Orlando representing the port and Tampa, and perhaps we want to do that with Tampa, with the port and Tampa Airport, instead of having it represented by executives. I think we all pitched in and helped to get earlier funding for West Chase interchange, so I would say that we've actually paid it forward to Hillsborough County and Tampa, but not everyone there might agree. That's all I have. Thank you.
yes, thank you. Anyone else? Vice Mayor Eisner.
So, Commissioner Scott, I would love to ask you this. This has been a MPO that's been established for quite some time now, right? So you're speaking to all people who are board members, correct? Or people that are in a position to make the decisions. What I'm trying to get at is the people that were removed when this was constructed together. You didn't get any feedback from them how they felt that it was.
I don't know that anybody was ever removed because they came together. I don't know that they had individual MPOs prior to 1977. So they started out as one.
Okay.
As one joint unit. But I did ask the question. There was a representative, and this was not, he was not an elected official, but it was an employee from the city of Sanford, which is included in that municipal board because they don't have a population of greater than 50,000. But they had some subcommittees, and I forgot he was on, I don't know, it was a technology subcommittee or something like that. And he was showing me the dashboard they were working on about how they were doing real-time road work and like click fix things like that. And they were getting their various municipalities to kind of work together on the same platform. And I asked the question, you know, does there anybody feel that they're not being represented or they're underrepresented or friction? And he spoke up on that and said that their city feels that they are extremely well represented, and the input that they had on this technical committee, they felt was heard and accepted by the broader board. So, you know, it sounded almost a little too good to be true. I got to be honest with you. I'm like, I can't believe that everybody's always hunky-dory all the time. I got to believe that there's some friction here points along the way, but we have friction points along the way too. I don't think there's any perfect solution for anything, but they seem to have figured it out. And the fact that it's been in place for, since 1977, and nobody's split off, I think that right there tells you something.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, and I agree. I was really impressed by the way that they figured out the makeup of it. I took some notes on that, and just, I was encouraged by the confidence from the smaller cities' representatives and them not only feeling like they were part of this and just as important as everybody else, but it seems that this offers resources beyond what a small city can do on their own. It's a strong voice that maybe, a city like Tampa feels like they're strong enough on their own. Some cities can fly solo like that, but with smaller cities, being able to have the resource of that larger voice, I think is extremely valuable, and we heard about it from them.
Yeah, their leadership was, just very confident that they had a good solution, and they had no reason to even think about going in every any other direction. And their board is made up, they have 17 members that are based on population, 4 members from operating agencies, and then 1 member from the Municipal Advisory Committee. And that makes up their board of 22. And their non-voting members was, they had non-voting advisory members of FDOT, Kissimmee Gateway Airport, Citizen Advisory Committee, and then there were 22 municipalities in their Municipal Advisory Committee, and then there was 1 or 2 that I didn't get a chance to take the notes on because they moved the slide away.
Oh.
I'll get the PowerPoint presentation and share that with everybody.
Yeah.
It might be helpful for you all.
That would be great. I wanted to point out also that elected officials who are not on this board were also invited to attend, and I was very happy that Mayor Rector from Clearwater was there. And having that kind of engagement it's so important, because I felt like, all right, now we've got one more person who gets it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Their leadership structure is they rotated. They just had the 3 counties. So they had a county commissioner. They just rotated. So between chair, vice chair, and treasurer, they just rotated between the 3 counties.
Yeah, they seem to work it out. I think, it's a mature organization, as mentioned, been around since '77. They did go independent in 1998 from the Regional Planning Council. So that's why they charge the 50 cents per capita, because they need a local source of revenue. And I will say that they debate projects, and they have some good disagreements on transportation projects, but they don't debate governance, and they don't debate borders. And what's interesting to me is Orange County has 7 seats on that board, far more than any of the other 2 counties. And I think Commissioner Uribe mentioned that they should be receiving something like 67% of the federal funds because of population, but they only expend about 40% of the funds. And she said they were very happy to see the money flow to the other 2 counties because it benefited the whole region. Now to your point, that geographic differences, Orlando is a job center and a magnet for the region, so everybody commutes into Orlando or Disney World for jobs. It's kind of 2 main areas of commuting patterns, and then I-4 connects all that. Yeah. So it's a little more, I don't want to say it's a simplistic region, but it's a simpler model than what we have here. So I'm not sure there's a perfect template, but it was just interesting to see how those boundary and governance debates that we're really wrapped up in didn't really trouble them very much.
No, it was not even, none of them expressed any concern about that whatsoever.
I'm glad to hear that Commissioner Uribe feels that way about the split for finances for the region. I know typically she's concerned about being able to provide financially since they are constantly growing.
And they have not passed their sales tax referendum, even though they've tried multiple times. Seminole County and Osceola County both have passed some local funding sources, but Orange County's been stymied every time they've tried to do that.
Councilmember Gabbard.
Thank you. And Whit, I just wanted to say thank you for putting all of this together. I know that it was hard work to get everybody at the table, but I did find it to be very productive and very positive. And I actually, happy surprise, a dear friend of mine, Commissioner Cheryl Grebe, is actually the Osceola County representative. She is the only representative for Osceola County due to their size. And so I spoke with her actually in a follow-up after the meeting, and she shared with me privately that it has been an incredibly positive experience, that Osceola County feels as though they are very well represented, but really, to Commissioner Scott's point, the Municipal Advisory Committee is the key to that. And so I think it's going to be really important. That was probably the biggest takeaway that I had. It's going to be very, very important that however that entity is set up, if we do end up merging, that everyone feels they have a voice and that that voice feels as though it is well represented at the bigger board, because I have been a little skeptical about how that would work out, and certainly left there feeling much more positive about it. So thank you for that opportunity.
All right.
Yeah, I think the toughest part of it was finding a date that everybody could go over there, but they were very accommodating, great hosts, and worked out well, I think. Thank you all for taking the time to make that trip.
Vice Chair Eggers.
Yeah, first of all, I wanted to say thank you to those that took the time to go over there. I mean, I really, I just couldn't make it work, but I felt a little guilty. So having heard your all's input makes me feel a little bit better for not having been able to go. But thank you for taking that time. It's really the kind of work we have to be doing now to make sure that we're doing it right. And so the cost comparisons continue to be out there, governance comparisons, the styles. And for us at this county, we're going to have to figure out how we, and I guess this is a little different than what it sounds like over there, but how we want to split up our seats, so to speak, so that we make sure that some of the concerns about smaller cities are taken care of in this whole discussion process. So I'm encouraged by what I'm hearing and look forward to rolling up our sleeves and doing the hard work, because it's a big deal. When you look at South County and or South State and what they've done as a united front, and you look at what Orlando's done as a united front in terms of getting money, probably an unfair amount of money based on what we should have been getting. I mean, again, I'm not pointing fingers anywhere. I'm just saying this might be a way to do it. But anyway, continue the discussion and look forward to that. Thank you.
Well, on that note, this Friday, we have our principals workshop. It's at 12:30 at the Collaborative Labs over at the Epicenter, so I encourage you all to be there. I don't know that everybody's RSVP'd, but we are hoping to get a good turnout there. I think we have pretty good response rate thus far from the 3 counties of local elected officials. And what you're going to do at the workshop is look at some different options, some different governance models, some different structures, and you'll have an opportunity to weigh in, talk with your colleagues. There'll be some small group breakout sessions. And I know some of you have a Pinellas legislative delegation meeting beforehand. We're close by to where you're meeting, so hopefully you can get over there afterwards. Again, just encourage everybody to share your thoughts, even if currently right now you don't know how you feel about the merger of the MPOs, you have some serious questions, you have some concerns. Please express those concerns, because hearing those will help us try to address them, come up with different options, and make sure those voices are heard. And we are planning for a Plan A, which is to merge the MPOs, and a Plan B, if the will's not there, what are some things we can do to be more successful in transportation funding and prioritization. The only thing else I'll mention is that Commissioner Johnson, thanks for joined us for the MPO Advisory Council meeting on October 23rd, and they've started a new format for those meetings that I think will be a little bit better. Actually, we came together as elected officials and staff, but after, staff and elected officials had separate meetings where they were able to be a little more candid in conversations and talk more about some key issues facing MPOs across the state. It's an important voice to articulate those concerns. And for a couple of sessions now, MPOs in particular and the MPO Advisory Council have been on the menu for the legislature to put in some constraints and even eliminate the MPO Advisory Council. And Chair Uribe from Orange County, I think, has taken the bull by the horns to really work with staff. We have a new staff director to implement some changes in that organization to really ensure that it is a collaborative body where MPOs can share best practices and experiences and learn from each other. And I don't know if there's anything you want to add, Commissioner, but I hope you felt it was valuable to participate.
It was definitely valuable time, and I did enjoy it. Thank you for appointing me to that. I do appreciate it. We learned a lot in our work session on the Department of Transportation and how they get their funding and how we have to, try to get that funding down to the regions. So, and we had DOT in there with us talking about that, and it was a great conversation. We learned a lot. Obviously, we learned we have to lobby a little bit for our regions and do some work, and there's a little work to be done on our side. So, but it was a great use of my day, and I appreciate the invite.
Well, so much of transportation is competitive, and speaking with one voice is something that gets reemphasized every time I get to those meetings. Last little thing I'll mention is, speaking of speaking with one voice, we are about to initiate a regional project prioritization process. I'm not even going to say the acronym, but it's a federal grant that was awarded to the Hillsborough TPO, who went after the grant in partnership with Pasco and Pinellas. And they were awarded that grant about a year or so ago. It's a $1 million grant, and the request for proposals for consulting support will be out next week, I believe. And so in a matter of a couple of months, we'll have a consultant and we'll be underway. And the goal there is to look at how Pasco, Hillsborough, and Pinellas currently prioritize transportation projects and come up with a relatively common methodology and procedure that can help us advance regionally significant projects, as well as use similar procedures for smaller scale projects in each of the counties. And we had an interesting discussion about that earlier today. And I just wanted to put it on your radar screen that that's another example of how we are working together. And that'll have a plan A and a plan B component. Again, if we don't merge, that regional prioritization process is still going to be very important for going after those competitive dollars, particularly if it affects the interstate or strategic intermodal system, like the West Shore Interchange did a few years ago. We need to have a good argument, and we need to have a consistent shared voice for those projects. That's all I have for this report. A little longer than normal, but thanks for the indulgence.
Yeah, but it was great. Thank you. All right, next we'll do item 7C, which is our draft tentative work program. And for that, we have a presentation from Brian Hunter from FDOT. Hi, Brian.
Good afternoon, everybody. So Brian Hunter with the Florida Department of Transportation. Today I'm going to give a brief overview of the tentative work program that we've been working on with the MPOs for the last couple months. I know we have some new faces on the board since the last time we presented this, so I'll give a brief description of what the tentative work program is, how we develop those, what are the priorities we use, where we get those priorities from, and then I'll go into the projects, and then I'll be happy to take any questions that you may have. So the department works on a 5-year budget cycle. That's called our 5-year work program. That includes all phases of a construction project or a roadway project, so from planning all the way to construction, everything in between. It also includes all of our modal projects that we're helping our modal partners with. So that'd be airport, seaport, transit, rail, and then freight projects as well. And so right now, we're working on our 26 through 30 work program. That's what we're in right now. And come July 1st, 26 will end, 27 will be the new first year. And so it'll look kind of like this, and we need to backfill that new 5th year. And so that's what we've been doing the last couple months. And so this presentation is mainly going to talk about projects that are in that new 5th year, but also some changes that we may have had in the inner years. So we build that 5th year, make those changes we need in the inner year. We then submit it to the legislature. They review it. They send it to the governor's office, and if he signs it, it becomes our adopted work program on July 1st of 2027. So how do we build those projects? What is our strategy for that? And we do have a very specific strategy. The first thing we do is we go through and we want to make sure we're preserving our existing system. So if there's a bridge that needs rehab or a road that needs to be rebuilt, or we need to improve technology, then that's programmed first. The second thing is we look at preserving the work program. And so that means if we have a project that had a schedule change or a cost change, we make those adjustments. And then the third thing is we fund the new phases or the next phase of a project that's already received funding. So if we've done planning and design and we need to fund right-of-way, then that's the next priority that we have, and all the way through to construction. And that's to make sure that we're being good stewards of the taxpayer dollar and we're moving those projects that we've already invested in through to construction. And then the fourth priority for us is then adding those new projects. And where do we get those new projects from? A lot of it's from the MPO. So when you guys do your list of priority projects in June timeframe, that comes to us. We also get the Suncoast Transportation Planning Alliance, their regional priority list that you all build together. That comes to us, and then we have the department's priorities as well. So we go through those, and we pick projects to fund. So this presentation is going to only show projects that are newly added to the work program. If a new fund or new phase was added, it'll be in there as well. If there was any sort of advanced or deferral of a project, so if we moved it in or out a year, and then major projects of interest. If you've been tracking a project and you don't see it on this, please don't worry about it. It just means that we didn't have a major schedule or cost change. It's still moving forward as we had previously presented on. But you can go to our work program. There's a web page at the bottom, but if you just Google FDOT work program, it'll pop up as your first choice, and then you can drill down to, if you want to look at the district or county or even city, you can drill down to that level of detail in there. So the first project here is planning. These are the funds that go to the MPO to do the great work that they do. And one thing you'll notice about this slide, if you look above Metropolitan, that has a little logo, the Ford Pinellas logo, and it says Ford Pinellas Priority. That means it's something that came directly from your priority list that you guys passed. And so we were able to fund that priority for you all. These are transit projects. So the first one is bus replacements. That is a recurring capital investment that the MPO makes to fund bus replacements or infrastructure improvements related to that. And then we have the PSTA Transit Corridor Program. This is adding operational funds to fiscal year 31. This is a competitive grant program. The transit agencies apply to the department, and it really is focused on providing regional connectivity. So these three routes, you have 100X, which goes basically from downtown Tampa up to Gateway, across the Gandy to Britton Plaza, and then up to Tampa, downtown Tampa. And then 300 goes from like the Ulmerton Park and Ride across Ulmerton to the Howard Franklin Tampa International Airport and then downtown Tampa. And then Route 19 starts at like the Largo Transfer Center. It shoots up to Tarpon Springs, and that provides that regional connectivity by connecting to some Pasco County bus routes that come down US 19 or across 54. So these are great projects. We applaud PSTA for continuing to do these. They do really well, and so we're happy to participate in helping to fund the operations on those. These are operational improvement projects that the department has coming forward. This is 3rd and 4th Street. This one came out of the MPO's Downtown St. Pete Transportation Plan, or is it Mobility Plan?
Mobility.
So this one is constructed, is going in fiscal year 31. This will convert 3rd and 4th Street from one-way pairs to two-way roads. And that's basically from 5th to 5th, so 5th Ave South to 5th Ave North, or 175 to 375. So that's construction in 31. We also have a roundabout at US 19 at Virginia Avenue. We are going to do the design in-house so that we can advance it a little quicker than would typically be done, but it's a small project, and so we've added right-of-way to fiscal year 30 on that one. I was out there last week, and I think we've got a little wiggle room there that we can get like an elliptical about, or a little peanut-shaped one that we may not need right-of-way, and so if we don't, then we'll move into construction. We'll transfer those funds to construction at that time when we determine that. On the bicycle and pedestrian projects that we have the Pinellas County sidewalk gaps. This is sidewalk gaps on the state roadway system. So we have a list of all the sidewalk gaps. We gave it to the MPO, and they got us back the priority list, and so we're just knocking those off, going down the list as we can. And so we are continuing with that. This will be the 5th year that we've done that, so we're adding both design and construction. And then the 60th Street project is one of the government grant programs that the MPO has. So this will be some bicycle and pedestrian and intersection improvements on 60th Street. And Pinellas Park is also funding part of this project. I think we have 1.5 million, and they have like 1.2, 1.1 of local funds on it. These are the resurfacing projects. There's quite a number of them, so we went with a map this time instead. So this is northern Pinellas County, but I do believe in your agenda packet there, if I did my job right, I emailed a list to Chelsea and she got it to everybody. Hopefully I did that, but if not, I can get that to everybody. But this is north Pinellas County, and these are the ones that are in southern Pinellas County. And so these are just straight resurfacing projects with some minor improvements as necessary. And then on the resiliency front, we have done a lot of looking at lessons learned from the hurricanes that we've had in the recent, last 5 years. And so we're going to do some resiliency improvements out on the Howard Franklin Bridge Causeway. And so this will be on the Pinellas side, construction in fiscal year 30. Then we have some mast arm replacement projects as well. And then we have 699, so Gulf Boulevard from Tom Stewart to 153rd. This will be like pedestrian improvements at the intersections, rebuilding the signals, putting backplates so they're a little easier to see when you have that sun beating down in the direction of the traffic signal. And just a couple of miscellaneous projects to wrap us up, but we have a previously programmed drainage improvement that we determined is no longer needed. And so we were able to accommodate that in a different project. And then we also have a rest area improvement project that'll be construction in fiscal year 30. This is the total funding that we have programmed for Pinellas County over the next, from 27 to 31. It's about $531 million, with 185 going to resurfacing and 152 going to transit, about 200 overall, a little over 200 to our modal partners during that time frame. Here's the timeline. We already had our online public hearing. We got all those public comments due. I know that yesterday was the date that the MPO objections letter was due, but don't worry about that. If you guys have a letter to submit, we will definitely incorporate that. It's a soft deadline of November 11th. And then we submit this in January to the legislature, and then July 1st, hopefully we have an adopted work program to work on. And before I take any questions, just want to remind everybody, be safe while you're walking out there. It gets dark very early this time of year, so if you're out there driving or walking, please pay attention to potential of pedestrians being there. And if you're a pedestrian, wear reflective clothing, have a light, walk on roads that have sidewalks, that kind of thing. Just stay safe while you're out there on our roadways. And I'll be happy to take any questions that anybody has.
Thank you, Brian. And I'll just point out that the letter of comments is in the packet, so anybody can read that letter.
All right. Any questions? Yes, Vice Chair Eggers.
Well, thank you. Appreciate the changes and especially the one on Alt 19. Thank you for looking into that. Just while you're here, I just wanted to thank you all for arranging a special meeting monthly for the Alt 19 work. A lot of questions come in my district for that area, and really appreciate the Secretary for setting that up. They're all very, very good folks, and they're very accommodating. And when I ask questions, they actually don't make me feel stupid for questions that are probably stupid. So they're really good people. I really appreciate that. Certainly. Also wanted to thank you for the efforts that are being made over in the Ridgemore area, the bridge that's being designed there. I continue to get questions about certainty, looking for how they're covered. So all I offered them up was that the Secretary was willing to move to that area to make sure that it got done on a timely basis. Well, that's okay. That's personal, But I appreciate the work you guys have done. I know our Public Works folks are looking closely at just making sure that we're set up to provide access at all times. So thank you for that, and appreciate the presentation today. Thank you.
Mayor Freeney.
So maybe based on what you just said, maybe I won't have another opportunity for the FDOT comment, but I just, somewhere in here, I was going to make a comment about Skinner Boulevard, which has nothing to do with this. But I'll tell you, like personally and from every resident in Dunedin and people that go through there, those roundabouts are great. And I know there's finishing touches there, but it's good. I mean, and there was some controversy about roundabouts, but I'll tell you what, everybody's changed their mind. They like them. So I just wanted to kind of put that and thank. And of course, that project was 5 months early, so thank you.
Just a quick question, follow up on that, because I tend to agree with you. I know some folks in the audience don't always agree with roundabouts, and I'm just looking at my friend David. But they've been, I mean, they were lined up to fight against the roundabout in Palm Harbor, and we took a lot of heat for that, but really, we get no calls. The only person I ever hear from is my friend. But no, seriously, it's been a, usually that comes from up above, but thank you. On that one, is there any thought to the 2 lanes that are approaching that intersection from the east, having a merged area before you get there? Because when you cross through that light and hit that, it is like an immediate merger, and there really becomes a problem sometimes, not often, but is there any thought that the 2 lanes could accommodate and make that a right turn only lane? Because that's an issue as well. I don't know, just a thought question.
Yeah, let me get some turning movement counts there, and we'll see what can be done. It may be an issue where we can just put some advanced signage, and we may not have the capacity going through, but if we do have the capacity to make it a right turn only, we'll take a look at that. So I'll get some turning movement counts.
It is about capacity versus safety. I mean, it truly is, because it's just a real, I mean, I've seen already some close calls because everybody thinks they have the right of way there, and it's really fast. Maybe you could extend the merge. I don't know if you can I'm not speaking on behalf of the council or commission, but
You're not, but it's a good point. I've had the comment, and people have said, oh, it's so fast, and all of a sudden you're merged, so it comes on them. So I'm not speaking on behalf of my commission either, but it's definitely.
Let's do it anyway.
Yeah, let's do it anyway. But it has been a comment, and it's made in a positive way, because people love the improvements.
Yep.
So it's just at that particular point, it seems to be, you're there, you're merged, but then, like, it's quick. Like, you got to merge, because you're across the light, and boom, you better merge.
We can do something. I'll put it that way. I don't know what it'll be,
Love
but
it.
we can do something.
Well, doing something is better than nothing, so thank you.
Oh, I mean, we love the whole thing. I mean, it's great. And again, all the finishing touches aren't there, but it's, it just goes to show how successful something like this can be in terms of whatever you want to call it, smart street, complete street, whatever, so.
Councilmember Gabbard.
Thank you. And Whit, I just wanted to thank you for the call out in the letter in the back on the interchange and the frontage road and multi-use trail improvements along Gandy Corridor east to 4th. I would just echo, wanting us to move forward with that project. Obviously, I know that there was a lot of conversation about not sure what's going to happen at the dog track. That property has now been sold to another developer, and there will be some major improvements that are going to come in that area. It's going to increase traffic in that area, whatever it ends up being, and it's already a pretty dangerous stretch of road. So any improvements that we can continue to look at, kind of bring that conversation back forward and move that forward, we would really appreciate.
Yes, we do have some improvements programs for out there. Like we're going to add a third westbound lane. But with that property being redeveloped, it'll actually allow us to do some signal. Right now with the exit lane, the northbound exit lane, we've been having to work with the owner to change the lane assignment. And now with the new developer, we can change some of those lane assignments and really shorten that signal timing up so that more through traffic on Gandy, which will improve safety out there. You can meet people and they don't get frustrated that they're sitting at one signal, So I think we have some opportunities to do that in advance of the much bigger project that we're still looking to fund. So.
Right. Yeah, and I do want to thank you because I know that the City of St. Pete has worked with you all, and we've been able to kind of do some interim corrections to make things a little bit safer. But to the point of the bridge we were talking about earlier, a lot of people cut through, and when they can't cut through as easily because the bridge is being worked on, then that is also going to increase traffic through there. So just continuing to try to kind of sync up all of those projects.
Yeah, we do a lot of coordination with your city staff, so.
Thank you. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Eisner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So with the change of weather and fall and the change of the license plate colors, that are coming down. There is a number of places that we have stop for pedestrians, but if there's no pedestrians, the other license plates seem to feel it's a stop sign, and it's possibly, is that anything that you'd be looking into to see people are stopping when the people behind that know that it's not a stop sign don't always stop? So we have an issue with that.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever heard that before, but I can ask our safety folks to look into if there's any issues on the state road system where we have that we could, it's probably more of an education issue than an infrastructure or enforcement. So I think let me look into it.
Okay. The other question I have, just recently I was making a turn off of, at a Costco, and we have left turn, no right turn on red, and both lights are lit up. But we also have another large no turn on red that's not lit up. And it's causing, I think, confusion because the people are blowing horns. They just think you could turn on red. Are they looking into anything like that?
Do you know what intersection that's at?
It's coming out of Costco where you're trying to get back onto 19. I don't know the exact street, what it is.
Yeah, let me.
We have it also at Klosterman and Alt 19, same thing.
Okay. Yeah, we can take a look at that.
And last but not least, we have they looked into all these bicycle accidents that have been coming up these recent days? So I know in Palm Harbor they've had, in Tarpon Springs they've had. I know we always are looking to keep it safer, and also I sit on the School's Transportation Safety Council. Is there anything that you could see that we could do to help that situation?
So, I mean, with safety, it's all about the 3 E's. You have engineering, which we take a look at those, especially when we get some sort of complaint. Maybe it's lighting or providing a crossing for folks. So if there are any particular locations, please always reach out. Anybody, reach out to the department. Safety is our #1 priority, so we'll take a look at it and see if we can do anything. As far as like an infrastructure improvement to provide increased safety. Enforcement is one of those things. We do work with our local law enforcement agencies to, if we know there's a hotspot, have them go out there and do enforcement in that area. And then education is one of the biggest things that we can do. So if you have any we have a team that just does safety outreach and education. So they go out, they teach people how to put on bicycle helmets properly. They talk to people about how to cross roads, talk to drivers about how to interact with bicyclists as well. And so if you ever have any events or anything that you think would be an appropriate place for us to have somebody at, we are always looking for those opportunities to get out there and preach the gospel of safety and get people to, even if they just think about it one time, that's one more time than they would have. So, please invite us. That's for everybody as well. If you have any safety issue locations, let me know. We'll get that addressed. And if you have any place that you'd like us to do some safety education, let us know and we'll be there. We'll have somebody with bells on. Literally, they'll have bells on for their bikes. Bing, bing.
Thank you. And Brian, thank you. I know you came up to talk about the tentative work program, but I know we all appreciate that you're always willing to answer a variety of questions while you're here. So thanks for being such a great partner.
Not a problem. Glad I can help.
Anyone else have any questions? All right. Tina, do we have any members of the public who wish to speak on this item?
No, Madam Chair, we do not.
Okay. The action today is, would be to approve the letter of comments on the draft tentative work program to FTOT. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 7C. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. Next, we'll go to item 7D, which is regarding the TMA Leadership Group, SCTPA, and MPOAC committee appointments. Whit.
I'll handle this one. So as we've talked earlier, we have a couple of advisory committees and responsibilities for the MPO to participate in the statewide planning process. The TMA Leadership Group is the subcommittee of the Suncoast Transportation Planning Alliance. That was formalized a few years ago. The SCTPA represents a 7-county area covering the MPOs from Citrus, Hernando, all the way down to Sarasota, Manatee, and east Polk County. We have a single representative to that body. They meet twice a year, and they vote on regionally significant transportation priorities. And it's actually a requirement in state statutes that if you want to participate in the Transportation Regional Incentive Program, you have to do so through one of these multi-county MPO vehicles. So it serves a pretty significant purpose in bringing dollars to the region and collaborating with our other regional partners. The smaller group, the TMA Leadership Group, represents just Pasco, Hillsborough, and Pinellas. We have 3 representatives to that body, 3 equal representatives with the other MPOs, and we meet generally quarterly with the TMA Leadership Group. The current representatives on the TMA Leadership Group have been Commissioner Eggers, Councilmember Floyd, and Councilmember Driscoll. The SCTPA representative has been Councilmember Driscoll because that meeting generally immediately follows the TMA Leadership Group, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have a 4th person make the trip when we already have 3 representatives there. And then finally, the MPO Advisory Council, we have 1 representative on the governing board. The primary has been Councilmember Patty Reed, and the alternate has been Commissioner Chris Johnson. Anybody is welcome to put their name in the hat, and I will clarify that a few years ago, we modified our bylaws to allow any one of the Ford Pinellas board members who attends the TMA Leadership Group to vote on the agency's behalf if we didn't have, say, the 3 appointments there. Funny story that I once asked one of our board members, I told her she couldn't vote, and I never want to do that again. This way, if, for instance, 2 of them can't be there, but a 3rd is, another one of you is there, then you can take that seat and vote on our behalf. So I don't know how you want to handle it, but I guess we need to open it up for nominations.
Yeah, and before we do that, I wanted to give the other members who have been serving on these committees a chance to speak if they want to. It looks like Vice Chair Eggers. So you are still in?
I'm still interested in staying on if the board chooses.
Thank you, as am I. And Councilmember Floyd?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still interested. It's not, it was an educational experience, and you don't get to do it many times. So over the course of a year, and I just got appointed last year, so I'd love to be able to continue to learn more.
Thank you. Anyone else? So then we will.
Do you want to take them individually? Just go committee by committee?
Yes. So we'll start with the nominations for TMA. If anyone would like to make a well,
Of that,
no.
go ahead.
Or,
Of those 3 people.
Oh, okay.
I didn't hear, was there anybody else? I didn't think anybody else.
No.
Okay.
I'm just sort of clumsy about all this right now. I'm sorry.
So we have a motion to appoint Commissioner Eggers, Councilmember Driscoll, and Councilmember Floyd, reappoint them as members of the TMA. And Commissioner Floyd second that.
Okay, so
Well
we
said,
have.
Whit.
So I
my
have,
best.
I just want to make sure I get the record straight. So I have a motion by Commissioner Eggers, seconded by Commissioner Flowers to maintain the current membership to the TMA Leadership Group.
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. Next, we'll do the SCTPA. I have been happy to serve, happy to continue to serve on that one, unless one of the other TMA members would like to hang out longer after those meetings.
Not me. I'm good.
All right, then I would be happy to be nominated. I'm the chair. so-
3rd.
Thank you.
I didn't get them first and second, sorry.
Motion by Commissioner Flowers.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second for SCTPA for me to continue serving on that. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. And finally, for the MPOAC committee appointment,
I believe Councilmember Reed is still interested in serving, and Commissioner Johnson, are you still interested in serving as a backup?
all right, so we have a motion and a second for Patty Reed and Chris Johnson to continue serving on MPOAC. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you, and thanks to all who are willing to do that little extra. And Tina, just for the record, before we move on, did you have any members of the public who wanted to speak on any of those items? Because I forgot to ask.
They are lined up out the door. No, nobody wants to talk about that.
Okay, thanks. All right, next we will do an overview of the Special Act and countywide planning process by Rodney Chapman. Hi.
Good afternoon. All right. Good afternoon, Rodney Chapman, Planning Manager here at Fort Pinellas. As your write-up indicates, this is the first part of a two-part discussion that we want to have with the board about the countywide planning process and the Special Act. As I debated about how to begin this presentation, I thought, well, I could take, one approach which would be to quote state statute and chapter and verse of the Special Act, but I thought that probably wouldn't be the right thing to do because I must admit land use policy and legalese can be quite boring. So what we're going to do today is take a different approach. So to begin, I want to talk to you all about milestones within the evolution of the Pinellas Planning Council. So for those of you that are of age, do you remember what life was like back in '64, 1973, and 1988? For me, I wasn't born in '64, so I have no point of reference there. I was born in 1973, and I was in high school in 1988. So, if you all can remember back then, obviously in '64, America looked a little different. What was interesting to me in putting this together is some of the things we talk about in terms of cost of living. So back then, the average home price was about $20,000. Income was much less, and gas was about 30 cents a gallon. I am old enough to remember when we had a black and white TV. Another interesting fact is back then only about half of the households owned a second car. In '73, again, home prices did tick up a bit as well as income, as well as gas prices. And then in '88, again, costs continue to rise, incomes rise. My parents bought my first car in 1992, so I do remember paying about $1 a gallon for gas. And I did take a computer programming class at Bogasega High School. So the computer that I remember working on looked something like that. The reason why these milestones are significant when you think about the county charter, the Special Act, and the countywide planning process is that those dates line up nicely with some of the milestones in the land use part of what we do here at Fort Pinellas. So back in 1964, the Planning Council was established by an act of the Florida legislature, and at the time, the purpose was to pursue federal planning grants. There was an understanding that the county was growing and that there was a need to bring some order and consistency to development as land would develop over the intervening years. So things kind of ticked along until 1973, when the legislature again amended the law to give additional authority and powers to the PPC. It resulted in the Planning Council being able to weigh in on things like zoning decisions, subdivision regulations, and utility planning, none of which we do now, but at the time there was a and understanding that growth would have to be planned and coordinated given the amount of cities that we have. It's also important to understand back in '73 that the ability of the Planning Council to approve or reject local land use decisions was incorporated. However, that changed in 1988, and that change was a result of legal action that was filed, I believe, in 1985, 1986. What that did was it resulted in changes again through the legislature and through the county charter that took away that countywide planning authority from the Planning Council and transferred it to the Board of County Commissioners as the countywide planning authority. In 1989, the Planning Council adopted the first countywide plan, which largely reflects what we have today. And at that time, we saw municipalities start to adopt their own local comprehensive plans to be in compliance with state law, and there became a consistency process where the countywide plan and these local comprehensive plans had to be consistent with one another. There's other milestones between '89 and 2012. I'll save that for the work session in January, but in 2012, that's when the legislature adopted the special act which merged the boards of the MPO and the Planning Council into that single decision-making body. One fun fact is that there's only one person on the board today who was back on the Planning Council back in 2012. I'm not going to ask you to guess, but that person is Mayor Ayub, was back on the Planning Council. Yeah, he was 12 back then. The other thing that's important to think about in terms of countywide planning is looking back at how the county has evolved when it comes to population and employment. What you're looking at here is kind of a working analysis that we're going to refine and bring back to you some other data points in January, but it was interesting to us that if you go back and look at what Pinellas County looked like in 1960, quite a bit different. About a third of the population that we have now. And you can see on the map to the right the amount of what we would quantify as developed versus undeveloped land. So the parcels in purple are what was developed or considered developed back in 1960. And again, looked a lot different. Gateway obviously is pretty vacant. Some parts of Mid-County, North County, really undeveloped. It's also interesting to think about how employment tracks the population figures. So you can see, even though we smoothed out some of the data, you can see how the trend basically follows population and employment. And what was also important to note is if you look back at the number of jobs that Pinellas County had back in 2000, and compare it to the number of jobs we have in 2024, we've only added 10,000 jobs over that time frame. Why is that the case? The mid-2000s recession, as well as the COVID-19 pandemic. The county shed a lot of jobs during those two instances that have resulted in what would be kind of minimal job growth over that time period. Our team has also been able to show through the map series how development has changed over the intervening years. And not that we're 100% built out or no vacant land. We do still have some vacant land available, but it's very small and fragmented. And it's our belief that developing property in Pinellas County now is much more challenging, much more complex than it was back in the 1960s when you had much more developable land. And I think the case you all acted on in Clearwater earlier today illustrates that point, where you had a piece of property, which I had never seen in my 22 years, where you had a piece of property in one municipality sort of de-annex, go to the county, and then come back into an adjacent municipality to make a development project work. So again, the need to have that countywide perspective and support from an agency like ours is critically important. The other reason why it's critically important is because we have competition. I was able to grab a couple headlines from our partners in Hillsborough and Pasco counties to illustrate here just recently, about last spring and last summer, the amount of development that is occurring in our neighboring counties, and that they have a coordinated strategy to ensure that their counties are capturing the amount of growth that they feel is appropriate for their county. For us, you know, the countywide plan is our economic redevelopment strategy. We talk often about the three parts to the plan: the map, the rules, and the strategies. The thing that I want you to remember is it is a coordinated and multi-layered process. In the time I've been here, we've been able to strengthen our relationships with our local government planners, and we work really collaboratively to help deliver outcomes that the community supports. What we focus on is doing things that are predictable, because the development community desires that predictability, but we also want to do it in a way that is fair and balanced, and balancing the needs of the community versus the needs of, you know, other interests within the development decision-making process. But what underpins it all for us is understanding what the market will support. And the things that we bring to you all in terms of changes or plans or studies, we often, if we can, have that market component to it so that we are planning in a way that is going to meet the market's needs. Over the years, the Planning Council has pushed down a lot of responsibility back to the cities. And so now the current countywide plan allows the cities to make local changes that don't rise to our level, because a decision was made to determine what was of countywide significance. So things that are local zoning or site plan issues, obviously we don't deal with those, but if you are choosing to amend your future land use map in an area that is vulnerable, in a vulnerable location when it comes to climate hazards, or if it's dealing with land that should be reserved for target employment, you know, high-paying jobs, those types of things are what we consider of countywide significance, and that's when we'll weigh in. And the chart to the right is just to illustrate to you how prior to 2014, there wasn't a administrative or staff level pathway for approval. Everything went to the Planning Council and the County Commission. But in 2014, we did introduce a administrative process, and you can see in those blue bars how that has reduced the number of cases that go through our process and end up in front of the Board of County Commissioners. So there's efficiencies that we continue to try to implement to refine the process and make things work smoothly. I want to pivot now to talk more about our local census process. It's something that we have, that I'm very proud of. We put a lot of resources and effort into in the time I've been in this position. I have a great team that supports the work we do. And we wanted to give you a snapshot of some of the correspondence that occurs almost on a weekly basis between your staff and us, because it's things that you don't see because they don't always rise to the level of board communication or board action. In this case, this was an email that came to us about helping one of our cities to determine with a developer what uses would be permitted through their comprehensive plan. This community was dealing with a lot of different ideas and a lot of different regulatory hurdles or interpretations. So they reached out to us for a meeting to better understand what are the steps required, what can the developer do with the property, and what that potential is. And what was key in this case is they had no interest in doing residential. So residential is oftentimes the easy thing to do, and when you have a developer that wants to do something that is not residential, then it takes a little bit more thought because those projects are often more complex. The second instance is really more on the implementation side, where a community had certain standards and they were getting some pushback from Pinellas County Water and Navigation about some amenities that were in their land development regulations, and they were reaching out to us to find a way to incorporate this substantial, what they call substantial public amenity into their community. And then the last one is a request that came to us to help this community work with a private consultant to help the public understand density concepts, particularly missing middle, duplexes, triplexes, garden apartments, those types of things. And they asked us if we consider sponsoring the initiative. And then they also were contemplating adding this, this element to their Citizen Planning Academy. So again, this is a snapshot more into what you don't see in terms of the technical assistance we provide to the cities, and this is the form that these requests come in almost on a weekly basis. And then lastly, I'll just highlight our impact across the county, and this is just a snapshot of the work that our team has been able to do over the last few years. Most of you were on the board when we did the Target Employment Industrial Land Study update back in 2022. We are very proud of that work. We had a lot of partners and a lot of good policy recommendations came out of that, and we're happy that we were able to take those recommendations that related to the changes to the countywide plan and actually make those changes. So those changes that were recommended back in 2022 are in place now in the countywide plan. Nicole Galasso did speak to you all about our work that we're conducting on behalf of Pinellas County to update the multimodal impact fee ordinance, and that has been another countywide cross-jurisdictional effort that honestly has been a little bit more of a heavier lift than we thought it was going to be, given House Bill 479 and some of the other constraints put on us by the legislature. But again, just an illustration of how we are delivering high-quality service to Pinellas County. The next two projects are in Pinellas Park and Largo. This is working with those two cities to take the recommendations that were related to the cities coming out of the TEALS update and amend the city's regulations and comprehensive plan to ensure that these two communities are viable and competitive for high-wage employment going forward. And then lastly, a couple new things that we're going to be working on is in the cities of Oldsmar and Gulfport to help them understand, work with their communities to better understand what accessory dwelling units mean for them and could help with some of their housing needs. So again, just wanted to give you a high-level overview of the countywide planning process to sort of tee up a more in-depth discussion with you all at the January board work session. At that time, I'll plan to review with you a potential regulatory process change that we want to make to further streamline the process by which the cities follow to amend their future land use map. I also want to give you some insights into the planning community around the county so you have an understanding of what that landscape looks like. And then also want to talk to you all about a new software tool that we may pursue to help the public understand density and what it means in their neighborhood or community.
Rodney, just to follow up, there's a business card that we put at everybody's desk, which has a link on the back where you can scan to take you to the story map that we presented to you a few months ago that highlights the work we do and the responsibilities we have. So it's a good handy-dandy reference.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Gabbard.
Thank you. And Rodney, thank you for the presentation. On page 13, I was very happy to see the ongoing work under the Hurricane Shelter Space Mitigation Impact Fee. That is something that the city of St. Petersburg has been asking for a very long time for the county to take up. So do you have any information on a timeline for that?
Thank you, Councilmember. The reason I'm chuckling is whenever I put that on a document, someone always asks a question about that. So we discussed the topic with the Planners Advisory Committee at the last meeting and really put it on their radar. What we plan to do is to follow up with Pinellas County Emergency Management to re-engage them. The reason why that issue was raised is because of development in St. Pete, and we worked with your emergency management staff as well as Pinellas Counties to come up with an approach. And we were on a path to move something forward, but then last hurricane season hit and then everything stopped. So we're going to re-engage Pinellas County Emergency Management to see if they still support an initiative like that.
Okay, very good. Well, I'll continue to keep my eyes on it. Very happy to see it actually on this report today. And then I guess my other comment, it's probably not a question, it probably just is more of a comment, but something that I want us to just keep in mind. My other hesitation on the merger has always been what will be a bifurcating of the Pinellas County Planning Council from the transit agency work. I've always thought that that was one of the beauties of Forward Pinellas, was that it merges those two together. And so you're really looking at land development and transit cohesively. I have a great concern about information, just like was shared with this body today, not necessarily then being part of what members who will be on a merged MPO will be privy to. I look at, like the jobs information and the growth information. I think that is so important that those same members know that information. And so I just wanted to call that out and put a pin in that, because I think that's something that we're going to have a little bit more due diligence to make sure that the members who go to a merged regional MPO have that same information that is necessary to make decisions.
That's a very good point. Thank you for bringing that up. And, one of the things I've been really trying to focus on is how do you keep that linkage between land use and transportation as you elevate at the regional level? And I think there's a way to do it. There's a couple of different mechanisms for doing that. One thing we've kicked around, which is certainly not off the table and could be discussed, is to make Forward Pinellas or the Pinellas Planning Council an official formal advisory committee or body to the regional MPO. And then Hillsborough has a mechanism for that with their planning commission. And it would really be interesting to see what kind of mechanism Pasco County might look at to create. So that's a possibility. There may be some other ways to do it as well. One thing that we're not doing very well at the regional level is linking regional economic development strategies with transportation investment strategies. And we heard that loud and clear in Charleston last week, that they were doing that. So that's another area where land use at the 30,000-foot scale could probably be reimagined at the regional level.
Okay, look forward to more conversation. Thank you.
Anyone else? Vice Chair Eggers?
Yeah, I was just going to add that it seemed like, I can't remember the year, but there was a point at which the county commission took over the final approval of those countywide plan changes. It still doesn't go away from the fact that we need that planning effort locally. And I just think it's super important. I remember a few years ago when we were rushing to get a change in the number of categories. And we made a mistake up in North County. Went from one house per acre to from one house per 2 acres to one house per acre in an effort to be, and we caught it and changed it back so that we made sure that our community partner Tarpon Springs to the west and us were more in line, if you will, and that there was a distinction made if you preferred one density over another. And it allowed a community to voice that was really important to be heard. And so those little details are not really little, but they're important. And I appreciated the work that we tried to catch a mistake that we had made, but more importantly, some of the proactive effort that you all do to ensure that the personality and culture of our county that's in place is maintained. So thank you.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Thank you so much. That was great. Next, the director's report.
Yeah, I'll keep it really brief here. Just wanted to highlight, we talk about congested roads a lot, but in here we did do an analysis that shows all the roads that are 50% or less of their capacity. And we have quite a few roads in the county that do that, and these are all the functionally classified roads. We did not go into neighborhoods and calculate that for neighborhood streets. But while we do have a lot of congestion in Pinellas County, it's interesting enough, if you look down at the First Avenues, plenty of excess capacity on the First Avenues for a robust transit system, plenty of excess capacity on 34th Street South for the new Spark service that's now operating. So those are just a few examples. Some may surprise you, some may not. The next item I wanted to just highlight for you is we do have a draft scope of services that I've sent to the City of Clearwater Planning Department for a strategic plan for the Cooper's Bayou area. That's the area between Gulf to Bay, McMullen Booth, and Cooper's Point, where there's a lot of different initiatives that the city is contemplating there. The wastewater treatment plant will soon go away. I'm not sure if I know exactly the time frame, but we want to anticipate not only that change and what might replace it, but also a desire to deal with the flooding and issues on Bayshore Boulevard. And there's a number of FDOT initiatives happening in that area, and we want to kind of bring all that together. As soon as I get comments back from city staff, I'll be glad to share that scope with you. It may not need an action because we do not plan to go out for consultants for that work. But if there's an optional element that the city chooses to take advantage of, that might trigger that. So I'll be the first to let you know. We have for action our legislative priorities and a short update here. I'm not going to read the update for you. We're very early in the pre-session bill filing period, and we expect many more bills to be filed. We are tracking those, and there is a summary of some of those activities here that you can read at your leisure. But I do need action from the board to approve the one-page legislative summary handout that we do every year. It's just some minor tweaks from last year.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the legislative priorities. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
And to that point, we have an open request for proposals for state government consulting support. We received 5 valid proposals. We're in the process of reviewing those, and I can't say any more. But we will bring that recommendation to you at your January board meeting. And it's really, in my view, we're not racing to get ahead of this session, which starts in January. We're really kind of setting the foundation for 2027 legislative session and the lead up to that as well. The last item I want to bring to your, I think, is the e-bike update. We had you all review and approve a consultant authorization to get a handle on what's happening with e-bikes and throttle bikes and e-motos, all those things that are contributing to the high crash rate that Vice Mayor Eisner identified. We're still very committed to that, but we've learned happily that the consultant or the University of South Florida that we were going to work with has reached out to the Department of Transportation, and FDOT has funded that effort for the whole District 7. It's still going to be the same level of effort that we wanted in Pinellas County, so we're happy to let them take that on, and we will be engaged. So it's all moving forward. It's just moving forward a little bit differently than we envisioned. And then the last item, and you heard from Bill Johnson earlier in the meeting, we've added an item that's going to be a standing item to your agenda, which will be committee communications. And any actions taken by any of our advisory committees that they take a motion on, even if it's not something on your agenda or we're asking you to approve, we're going to bring it to your attention because we want to be extra transparent in our conversations with our committees. We want to make sure they feel heard, and we want to make sure that the issues that they're concerned with reach the board. So you can see some of the actions that the board or the committee, the Citizens Committee is recommending to you. And I'll be happy to answer any questions on these items, but I think in every one of these cases, we're going to be bringing them up to you at a future time.
All right.
I think that's it.
All right, any questions on that? And Tina, did I miss any public comment on any?
Yes, for the record, there wasn't any.
Good.
On the previous vote, yes.
All right, thanks. Oh, yes.
Just one comment. I just wanted to thank the board. It looked like we had 17 or 18 members here today, which I think is fantastic and really speaks to all of your all's commitment to being here. It's really a big deal to be here and to give your community's input. So I just want to say a special thank you to all of you for doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have any other information items?
That's
or
it for me for
anything you
this
wanted to
meeting and
comment
for
on?
this year.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. Did any other board members have any comments for the group? Vice Mayor Eisner.
I just want to do a special thank you to Commissioner Eggers. He stepped up when I called on him for a resident in my location who was really in a lot of trouble, and you stepped up, and I take my hat off to you. You were just a statesman, you got things taken care of, and you made some young lady really feel at ease. So I just want to thank you publicly. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think you created a great note for us to end on. All right. So seeing that there's no other request for comment, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.